How can I find out my cost per mile for my carrier operation? Running a business is costly, and we hope to assist you in this process by providing tools that make the process a little more seamless. We have a tool that allows you as a carrier to estimate the minimum cost per mile or cost per kilometer you need to know in order to run your operation successfully. However, the calculator's main goal goes beyond just giving you the cost per mile, cost per kilometer. Its primary purpose is to give you the big picture about the financial details of your company, giving you approximate minimum annual, monthly, and hourly gross revenue that you need to target in order to set the foundation for profitability. Here's how this screen has been organized. In the left column, you will find all the different categories of costs, and on the right, you will see an annual summary for your operation as well as an income summary. The figure in the CPM CPK field is the final output cost per mile or cost per kilometer. As you are entering values in the fields below, this amount will change to reflect that. The first thing that you need to do is decide whether you are looking to find a cost per mile or cost per kilometer. Depending on where you drive most, US or Canada, pick the currency and metric system that best applies to your situation. Below you will find the operation specifics. Your average hours driven should be 70 hours as per regulations, as well as the average speed, which should be 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour. But the average cost per liter as well as the miles per gallon and kilometers per liter could be different. You can change these pre-entered values to reflect your actual situation. You will notice that fuel is perhaps the most significant cost related to your driving, and you can also see how small savings in gas rates can save you money. Next, you need to select if your driver fleet is consisted of owner-operators only, company drivers only, or a combination of both. If your fleet consists of company drivers only, then your situation is a little more straightforward. An important fact to note when dealing with company drivers is that even though you are paying less per mile driven, you are responsible for covering employment insurance, CPP, WSIB, and employer health tax if your driver payroll is over $450,000 per annum. Note that we have calculated the employment insurance, CPP, WSIB for you based on the 2014 rates. If your driver fleet consists of owner-operators only, or a combination of owner-operators and company drivers, we allow you to find the cost per mile that the owner-operator needs to be paid. This is probably your largest cost, typically between 75% and 80% of the gross income of most carriers. And based on this figure, we allow you to see how much you need to charge your client on top of what you need to pay the owner-operator. This way, you can ensure that you are covering all of your overhead and turning a profit. If you do not know this number, click on the blue link. This will take you to a page that considers some common average costs that most owner-operators incur when running a truck. Enter any costs that you think are different for the owner-operators you're dealing with, and copy the final cost per mile or cost per kilometer at the top of the page. Now go back to the cost per mile, carrier, and enter this amount in the commissions per owner-operators field. Next, you'll need to consider any financial payments such as your IPS fee deposit and other loan payments, credit lines, interest payments, and others. Now we'd like you to take into account anything that you have spent in operational payments. Maybe you have hired dispatchers to track the fleet. Enter the number of dispatchers and their average salary. Their related employee costs, such as employment insurance, CPP, WSIB, will be automatically calculated, and you will need to enter any amount of employer health tax you are paying if your dispatcher payroll is over $450,000 per annum. Now, consider your truck equipment. If you have company drivers, you likely have leased or financed a truck. Enter all the amounts relating to leasing and financing a tractor and trailer, as well as any repair and maintenance costs associated with it. Also, if you have company drivers, we have calculated the total amount you will need to spend on fuel based on the number of drivers, the total miles driven, and the average price per gallon or liter. Permits and licenses are another aspect you may need to cover for your fleet. Enter any costs incurred on plates, DOT, IFTA, ACE, drug and alcohol tests, transborder services, and other costs. The next cost areas you need to consider are the insurance costs for the trucks, highway bonds, forklifts, and cargo. Communication is another important cost. Enter all your expenses incurred for cell phone lines, tracking software and service, any company landlines and internet. If you have a dispatcher, you are likely paying for a freight matching service, a dispatch system, and any border crossing service software. If you are consulting a counsel for any legal matters, you need to enter all the safety and compliance costs you might be incurring. If you have any marketing and sales staff, enter their payroll or commissions. Once again, all the costs associated with payroll employees are calculated for you, and you only need to enter the vacations, group insurance, and employer health tax costs associated with this group of employees. Now, think about the cost associated with any marketing collateral you have for branding your service. Do you have any stationary items with your brand? Any advertising, trade shows, truck and trailer decals, website, or any other? Please enter those in the sales and marketing section. Next, enter any costs associated with hiring any administrative staff, such as HR. Any other administration expenses, such as accounting and bookkeeping fees, management fees, general office supplies, cleaning and kitchen supplies, stationery, postage, and other miscellaneous costs. Following this section, enter all the costs related to your physical location. Anything from rent to security, utilities, waste management, and the like, all need to be entered to get the total payments. Now consider any insurance premiums you are paying to protect the assets of the business. Under Information Technology Payments, you need to enter any professional fees you're paying for IT. Also, other expenses that are very common, but often overlooked, are the unforeseen expenses. We calculate the standard 5% for this in order to ensure that your cost per mile has a small buffer that ensures you will be paid fairly, minimize losses, or turn gains. Finally, if you check at the top of this page, you will see your cost per mile or cost per kilometer. Voila! Think of this number as your break-even point. If you want to make money, you might need to figure out what kind of margin you can add on top of this, keeping in mind industry and market conditions. Happy miles!